Okay. Shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, the creator of the heavens, the earth, the seas, everything that in them is. The same power who made everything in 6 days and then rested on the seventh, that being the Sabbath day. The power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob, whose name he changed to Israel. The Father, lights, ancient of days, the Most High. All right, so first and foremost, I want to give the glory and the honor to He who created all things, um, and also just establishing the ground that no flesh will glory in His sight. All right, I pray everything is good with everybody so far through the week, with whatever's going on in your life, uh, and thankful just for another chance, to get into the Word within the midst of the week, it being the fourth day. All right, but tonight, family, I want to talk about old devils were young devils. And what brings this to mind is, seeing within media, seeing what's going on, something that I was trying to avoid, that being the case with Dwayne Wade, and allowing his son to become a transgender, basically a 12-year-old. Is analyzing and examining the matter. I'm looking at it like, okay, well, we know it's plenty of people talking about to say that it's wrong, they're against it. But then you got a lot of people saying, well, we for it. Let the child be a child and make their own decisions, so on and so forth. And just meditating on the matter, understanding that a lot of parents fail their children by trying to be friends with their children, trying to be the cool parent, and that's not according to Scripture. That's not what the Most High made us to be parents for. He made us to be guardians. He made us to guide and direct our children in the path that'll lead them unto Him, not unto Satan, not unto destruction. All right, so when I hear this man say, he gonna be behind his child in whatever decision his child makes. Now, simultaneously or recently in the news, we had T.I. to come out and say he takes his daughter for a checkup to make sure she's still a virgin. And he got so much flack back because of it, by being a guardian, by standing in the position to be providing parental advisory for his child, his daughter, holding it sacred, for her virginity, holding it sacred and respecting it, honoring it. And he got lashed for that. But here it is on the flip side of everything. You get this man saying that his 12-year-old son, he's okay with his 12-year-old son changing his gender or supposedly changing his gender to be a female because he feels that that's what he is. And that's really what it is a spirit. There's a demon attaching to that child. Something happened to that child, the influence on the feel that way. All right. So, but before we get into the message, I want to get into some milk so that we'll know and understand. Anytime I come on, this is what I'm talking about. Who's the target audience? The target audience are the children of Israel, the chosen people of the Most High God. According to the Bible, I'm speaking about the Negroes, the so-called minority within the earth. All right, so just a few verses to prove that. I'm gonna go to Revelation real quick. So when I talk about the Jews or Hebrews, I'm referring to black people. Shalom, gaming with King Keelan. Hey, shalom, son. All right, I'm gonna go to Revelation 2:9. Revelation 2:9. I'm streaming over YouTube as well as family on the phone. But Revelation 2:9 to prove that we are the chosen people of the Most High God, and we suffer and deal with so many plights, the different type of issues that's unique to the so-called black community and exclusive to us only. The answers can be found in the Bible. All right, but Revelation 2 verse 9, it says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. All right, so this Hamashiach, or the Messiah or Christ, speaking, saying he know the works and the tribulation, the troubles, the trials, the test of your patience, the problems that you go through, and said poverty of you, but you are rich, and the blasphemy or the filthy lie of them that say they are Jews, but are not. And I'm going to this verse here, family, because the Jewish people, they're not impoverished. You know, these people run Hollywood. These people run the NBA, the same arena that Dwayne Wade is in. They run the boxing. You know, they even here in Memphis a few years ago, you had Farrakhan to come here. You know, and I'm a student of knowledge. I'm gonna soak up what I can from whoever. You know, because I'm grounded in what the Most High revealed to me. But I went to hear him speak, and during his speech, before he gave his speech to everybody, he said that he was supposed to had his event at Mason Temple, the last temple that Martin Luther King spoke at before he was assassinated. And he said the pastor of that church came to him and told him that the Jewish community approached that pastor and said, "You gonna let Farrakhan preach in your church?" And that right there swayed the man. Those Jewish people swayed that man to not let Farrakhan come now. So I'm saying it because they have power in the community. The people who are saying they are Jews, they get reparations. You know, their family get checks a month. I'm talking about $1,000 each person in the house. They not impoverished, but you are, Negro. We are. So, but furthermore, let's get Revelation 21. Let me show you why this is important. Revelation 21, and I'm going to start with verse 9. And it says, "And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the Most High." Verse 11. "Having the glory of the Most High, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal." This is what we get into, verse 12. "And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel." All right, family, so I'm bringing this verse out, you know what I mean, to show you that what people understand heaven to be, to say they're going to heaven for one, but heaven is coming to earth. Even heaven itself, when the Most High fashioned it and designed it, he had his chosen people in mind, the children of Israel. So if heaven got 12 gates with 12 angels guarding the gates with the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, those people must be important. And if they're important, we need to know who they are. All right. And what I'm telling y'all before we jump into the message is that we are those people. And us not understanding our true identity, family, that's why we suffer what we suffer. We don't know that we're breaking the commandments that was given to us exclusively, unlike any other people. We don't know that. We don't know. Let me show you something. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. The book of Deuteronomy 28. Why is our communities the way that they are? Why are there so many single parent households? Domestic violence, black on black crime. It's all in the book. All right, I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And I'm going to start with verse 15. It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, and all his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." All right, so let me back. Keep that in mind. The Most High using Moses to tell who? We're going to find out. Deuteronomy 1:1 for the context of the book. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahab. All right, so I'm going to Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1, to show you who Moses was speaking to, the children of Israel. All right, so when we go back to chapter 28, we understand that this is who Moses is talking to, instructed by the Most High, that if we did not keep his commandments, these curses will come upon us. All right, and a couple of those curses. Let's see, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. All right, so I got a visual for that too. Let me show you something. So those over the phone line, you'll be able to see this visual in person, or if you go back to look at the YouTube or live stream. You see this? This is one of our elders from the time of chattel slavery. And what's on his neck? What's on him? Yokes of iron, a yoke of iron about his neck. This exclusively happened to our people. This didn't happen to the Jewish people. This did not happen to the people who are saying that they are Jews. It happened to us, though, showing you that you are the Jew, so-called Negro, black man, black woman. All right, let's go back. Let's see, maybe two more before we get into the message. But I want to get the milk out the way to lay the foundation. You know, for those, I know anybody who's new to it, you know, new to the streaming and keeping up with the messages, you know, to bring you up to speed just a little bit. All right, Deuteronomy 28, let's see, 50, let's see, I like 43. 43 says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right, so showing you that even with our finances title, it said the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. Speaking on within our communities. When in your community, the so-called black community, brown community, when our sisters, our daughters, our aunties, our nieces, our mothers, our grandmothers, if they want to go get their nails done in their own community, they'll have to go to a shop, which 9 times out of 10 is going to be a Korean that's going to do their nails if they go to get their nails done. All right, even within those who not in the know about it, the sisters who go get weave, when they go to their beauty supply in their neighborhood, it's not a beauty supply that's owned by Negroes or black people. It's owned by Asians. When you want to go get gas in your neighborhood, the stranger who's not an Israelite, when you go get gas, it's going to be an Arab in your neighborhood. When you want to go to Walmart, Kroger's, Piggly Wiggly, guess who run that? The person behind the register might look like you, but the person that's at the top who actually owns the business and company, guess what? It's not a Negro. It's not a black person in your neighborhood, though. All right, even those people, you know, you have hotels, motels. Those not owned by our people. Those owned by the Indian people from India. In your neighborhood, though. But meanwhile, we living in the projects, the slums, the duplexes, the shotgun houses. You know what I mean? We homeless in our neighborhoods. We don't own anything in our neighborhoods. Why? Because there's one of the curses that the Most High said will be upon us, the Israelites, if we disobeyed him. All right. 46, just to seal the deal. 46, or Deuteronomy 28, verse 46, it says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So this these curses would be used to identify who the chosen people were or who they are, no matter where they are in the earth. The Jewish people can't say that they suffer these things. They can't say that they went through this. Last one, verse 6 to 8, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 6 to 8. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Hey, shalom, shalom, Lamar Maccabee. In this scripture, family, the only time that the Jewish people were on ships was 1948, going into the land of Israel, as people understand it to be today. 1948, becoming a nation. The Jewish people didn't go into slavery on slave ships. All right. And the word Egypt going back to bondage or house of bondage, because at this point we had already been taken from under the hand of Pharaoh, brought out of Egypt. The Most High had already sent the 10 plagues on the land of Egypt, brought us through the Red Sea. He said, you're going to go back into slavery or the house of bondage again. But this time you're going to be transported on cargo slave ships. World history doesn't show any other race or ethnic group going into slavery on ships other than so-called black people or African Americans. All right, so once they brought us here, even here in Memphis, downtown, you got a street called Auction. Sold us on auction blocks. Didn't happen to anybody else. So dispelling the lie that you black, African American, and anything else besides an Israelite. All right, so now that we have it late, let's go forth with the message. All right, again, the title of the message being Old Devils Were Young Devils. All right, and like I said, to bring it to mind, this wicked case with what Dwayne Wade saying that he and even Gabrielle Union, I guess, agreed to for a 12-year-old boy to go forth with a surgery to change to be a female, which that ain't gonna change. He still won't be able to reproduce. He still won't have that time of the month. That's a trick of Satan. And I can guarantee you this. This is how you know it's a trick of Satan. Had his son told him, well, Pops, I want to be a robber. I feel like I want to go kill several people. I can guarantee you he would have halted him and stopped him. Like, no, man, you tripping. You off. You going wrong. Don't do that. He would have corrected him. But since his son is saying, well, I feel like I want to be a girl. I feel like I'm a girl. He just go with it. That's how you know it's an issue and a problem. That's how you know Satan then got in there. All right, when y'all come on, hit the like button, please. To share the message, spread it. Just for it to get out even further. Whatever the Father's will be. Aharon, the Levite, Shalom, Shalom. All right, so let's get into the scripture. What I wanted to talk about in detail is that this spirit works against our children early, family. Satan don't care how old your child is. He didn't care how old. Before you were born, the adversary was already working against you in the womb. So let's go to Revelation 12. Revelation chapter 12. Let's see. Come on. Revelation chapter 12. I'm going to start with verse 1. It says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it were born. All right, we're going to stop it there for a minute. And we understand that the Most High work with signs, but this applies across the board to everything. It said the dragon was waiting as the woman was about to deliver the child, waiting. Before your child is even born, the adversary is already trying to destroy your baby. A lot of the destruction of our children come through the prenatal pills. You know what I mean? They tell you, well, these prenatal pills are supposed to make the child healthy. And then they tell you, well, here, take this, get on Similac, get on Infamil, all of this. But the best nourishment for the child is for the children to be breastfed. That makes the child closer to the mother. That's a bond that you can't get from the bottle. The bottle is used, you know what I mean, subconsciously to start to detach and separate the child from, first and foremost, human, the nature and the design of the Most High God, first and foremost. You know what I mean? So that's why the woman's, you know, I think it's called lactate. A sister will be able to help me out. I don't know. But the breast, you know, begins to release the milk. That's for the child to be fed from. You know what I mean? And as the mama hold the baby, you know, that warmness, that's a bond. You building a bond. And I can tell you from experience that when you do that, the nutrients that's within the mother's milk will make that child more intelligent, will make that child development more speedy. No, but begin to walk earlier than what you expect, far as in comparison to the using Infamil and Similac. I've seen this. All right. So you already got things working against the children. Now we living in a dark time, a wicked time, where children get on TikTok and you got molesters and rapists and sickos trying to lure the children to meet them somewhere. Where they trying to lure the children through Fortnite. Children can't even play games no more. They got curses and spells programmed and being shown through Disney. Can't even watch cartoons. Skull and bones on all that. They got cartoons where the children in the cartoon are sodomites or homosexuals. And so the point that I'm going to be driving tonight, family, what I want us to understand that even at a young age, understand this, that child can still be damned. You know what I mean? And a lot of us don't understand this. We feel like, well, because my child or baby, you know, is innocent, and this is a true fact until they get to that age. But when the Most High God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities, it was children in those cities. Well, and the children had got filled with the wicked spirit and evilness. So it's our job to direct and guide our babies at the young age. It ain't too late. I'm trying to be your child friend. You know, you didn't meet your child out in the street at a job or at school. The child came from you. And you're supposed to be the protector, the provider, the help for them. The person that's going to keep it real with them, even if it hurt their feelings. Not saying, okay, well, you feel like that's cool. I'm just going, okay, I'm going to agree with you. The child don't know no better. All right? But Satan have also polluted, confused, and got a lot of the parents. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother message within itself. All right, but let's go to Ezekiel. We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 9. Ezekiel chapter 9, showing that, you know, the Most High, he still will send judgment on the children as well. You know, so it's our job to direct them and train them up like the scriptures have told us. Train our children up to respect the Most High, to honor him, to love him. You know what I mean? For them to be honorable. You know, some people just let the children just go about and be liars and call them bad and think it's funny. Nowadays, you got women, you know what I mean, training they little girls to twerk. Instead of telling them, sit down, read a book, you know, put them in a dress. You know, you got little girls now, barely even 10. Barely 10 years old. Mama putting weave in their head. Mama putting makeup on him, and the dad allowing it, if he there, which in many cases he's not present. All right. You know what I mean? So it starts young. It starts at the early age. We got to begin nurturing these children, because if not, they're going to grow up and be worse. They're going to be more terrible. All right. Ezekiel chapter 9, where I'm starting at. Let's see. I'll start with, I'm going to start with verse 4. Ezekiel 9 and 4. It says, and the Most High said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. All right, so in this case, there's a little background information before you get to verse 4. You know, the Most High showing Ezekiel a vision and showing him that within the vision, you had what you would say angels, and the Most High commanded them, saying, okay, take every man a weapon of war or a slaughtering weapon. You know what I mean? A weapon to do harm, to inflict injury. And out of those men, there was one man dressed in the white linen who had the inkhorn. And they said that the Most High spoke to those men or those angels and told them, go through the city and put a mark upon the foreheads of all the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations or the wickedness, the evil and the sin and iniquity that's done within the midst of the city. All right, so in this case, Shalom, Rhema word. Man, Yehukanah, what's going on, brother? Shalom, yeah, so putting their mark on the foreheads of the men who have a problem with nowadays. I've seen you got heathens being anybody outside of the 12 tribes, outside of the chosen people. Heathens, children, a little boy, drag queen, that open up a children's drag queen club. There's something to sigh and cry about. This wicked world that we live in, the dark times that we live in. I mean, where others say, well, hey, there's no problem. They praise and glorify. They clap their hands about it. They say ain't nothing wrong with it. Those type of people, they won't have that mark of the Most High on it. But let's continue reading. It says, verse 5, and to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So we see here, like I'm saying, family, the Most High, he ain't sparing the children, because they end up having a wicked root in them, grow up to be a wicked tree. I mean, and then that iniquity continues on. Unless something happened between time where the Most High sent a messenger and that person hearkening to the voice of that messenger. All right, but in this case, he says slay old and young, utterly, completely. Say don't spare none of them. All right, and it's a lot of people, a lot of supposed to be parents who gonna put their children within that category to be slain, to be destroyed, just handing them over to Satan, handing them over to the adversary. You know what I mean? It's a life that come after this. You know what I mean? And one thing that I found myself praying for is, even if I don't make it, let my children make it, Father. Let them make it into the kingdom. And here it is, you got people who they don't care nothing about the kingdom. They sacrificing their children, turning their children into witches and warlocks. Talking to what comes to mind, Will Smith and his children. You know what I mean? Magic Johnson and his son. These type of people, these type of things. All right, but the Most High says slay old and young, the little children. Now let's get something else. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you got parents that are, even in cases where we don't correct our children be dead wrong. Dead wrong. And here we are, we want to stand up and defend them, knowing they wrong. That ain't righteous. because that child will begin to think that, well, I can't do no wrong. And then I'm going to be the toughest and baddest person. Don't nobody need to ever say nothing to me. Don't ever want no correction, right? All right, but then you won't be around all the time. We won't be around all the time. So guess what? You allow your child to just bully people. And use this as an example. Just bully whoever. Put his hands on whoever. Put her hands on whoever. Talk crazy to whoever. Disrespect whoever. And you behind them 100%. Okay. But that time when you're not around, and then they run into somebody who they a bigger bully than your son or your daughter, and bust their head or kill them. Guess what? That blood on you. You trained that child to be wild like that. You didn't correct that child in measure. You didn't straighten them out. Even had a case where it's super sad. The woman had 2 daughters. They got into it with some more children, some more little girls. She take her daughters to the fight. Both of the daughters end up getting shot in the head. The mama pulled off on them. Left them for dead. But she took the children to the fight to fight. Instead of saying, hold on now. Using wisdom. What's going on? Investigate. You know what I mean? Instead of just running to mischief, don't even know what's going on. And then it led to you losing both of your daughters. And then you abandoned the children. Terrible, sad case. And so before I get something else, let's go back to Deuteronomy 28. That's one of the curses too. Deuteronomy 28, verse, let me get verse 54. All right. It reads, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. All right, even within this one verse, you got black on black crime, so-called. You got domestic violence, and then you got the single parent household. When we look at the statistics, like I said, this milk for those who not aware. When you look at the statistics of ethnic groups of who has the highest rate, the highest number of single parent household where the father is absent, you will see that it's the Negro community, it's the black community. You know what I mean? Even proving furthermore that we are the people, the chosen people of the Most High God. And by us not knowing this information, this is why we feel like, you know, we treat our children the way that we do. A lot of us. We don't treat them as royalty. You know what I mean? In a sense with wisdom, because some think it's royalty to say, I'm going to spoil my child. I'm going to give my child whatever they want, whenever they want. Guess what? You creating a monster. You creating a monster. We got to have balance. All right, because in the case where you steady giving them whatever, whenever, it's going to come a time you're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to obtain whatever it is that they want. And so then what happens out of that? A lot of them gain a spirit to where they completely crash out. Some start cutting on themselves. Some want to commit suicide. Some want to commit homicide. Some start selling their bodies. Some start selling dope. Taking blood contracts. Stealing. It leads to so much. All right, so we got to have a balance. Ain't nothing wrong with telling our children no. All right, no gonna improve them. Give them the balance to the yeses that you done gave them. All right, but continuing on, verse 55, it says, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege, and in the straightness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. All right, now each verse within the scripture got manifold wisdom in it. So it's not just, it applies to past, present, and even future. That's how we understand the word to be living You know what I mean? This how we understand that it's the word of the Most High God, because it's never old. It always applies. All right, but continuing on, verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. All right, so showing that even the mother would be without natural affection toward the child, toward the children, not concerned with their future, not really veering into, what choices and how I'm raising my child, how would this affect them? What am I instilling in these babies? Don't even care about that. So much so you get where this man say, hey, you feel like you want to be a girl, son? I'm with you 100%. Instead of telling, hey, man, no, we ain't having it. We ain't, no, there's a spirit immediately going in to pray. You know what I mean? And then addressing what's going on. Like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how you're supposed to feel. That's not how the Most High made you. But here it is, want to be friends with the child. But like I said, let him would have said he wanted to be a psycho serial killer. He would have stopped him immediately. Hey, Shalom, hey, Smooth. Shalom, huh? Your side Judah, what going on, Brewski? Come. All right, let's get some more scripture though, family. Let's see. Let's go to Genesis. All right, because I did mention that when the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities, it was children in the cities too. All right, showing you that, man, look, the Most High not playing. We got a job, it's a responsibility. Us being parents, this thing go far. We raising up the future. These are the generations. And before I even go to Genesis, let's hold Genesis, family. Something else just came to mind. Let's go to Hosea. Hosea 4 and 6. One of my favorite verses, one of the most powerful verses. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. And it reads, it says, my people, which is possessive, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So when we disobey the Most High, it comes in effect to where the Most High, like, well, man, it's going to affect your children. It's going to affect the generations that come after. And it's simple to understand. If I don't know nothing, what can I really teach my child? You know what I'm saying? But if I do, if I take time to see Most High sincerely, praying and fasting, on my face daily, crying out sincerely, not leaning to my own understanding. He revealed that understanding to me like he has to so many brothers and sisters who said they're going to deny themselves, who said, I don't know how to be a parent. Father, I need help, and you showing me how to be a parent to my child. And helping everything else. And he revealed that understanding to you to where now you can train your child up through the scriptures. Let them know this is how you're supposed to operate. All right, but in the case where we don't, we disobey the Most High, right? Hey, he gonna forget the whole house. All right, let's go to Genesis 19, though. Genesis 19, family. All right, Genesis 19. I'm starting with verse 1. It says, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. All right, so Lot see the angels come in, he go, and show on that, man, these is messengers from the Most High. You know what I mean? He's some supernatural beings. And in this case, understand that you don't know when the messenger of the Most High come, if he coming with good tidings or bad tidings. Is he coming to bring something terrible to you? Or is he coming to bless you? All right. All right, but he bidded those men, those angels, to come into his house, and they said, "Nay, no, we're gonna bat in the street all night." Verse 3. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. All right, so he, when they say pressed on them, he pretty much, he steady, you know what I mean? Like, y'all, come on, come on, man, y'all, it's all right. So he telling them more than once. Verse 4 says, but before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. All right, so you got old and young out there. Now listen to what they do, though. You know what I'm saying? Their wickedness try to get into them early. You know what I mean? If we don't stop it, catch it, cut it out, rebuke it, ban it, if we don't do that early, listen, that old spirit, that when that spirit get it and latch on and attach to that child, they're gonna grow up to be old and evil. If you allow them to be young and evil without correction. All right. Verse 5 says, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. All right, to know them meaning that they want to consummate the flesh. They trying to have intercourse with the angels. Don't know nothing about them. Look at the mind. Look at the mindset of these people. Don't know nothing about them. Then beyond it, they watching Lot's house. They're like, what them dudes that just came in, to your house? We saw them come in here. Where they at? We trying to know them. Don't know anything about them. Let's see. Say they came out of every quarter too, family. Verse 6, and Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. So Lot even all men say, look, I got daughters. You know what I mean? Which is a more natural, way for a man and a woman to get together. So he came out, closed the door behind him, said, look, don't do this. I'll give y'all them instead. Y'all can, they ain't even, they haven't been touched by man. Let's see where we at now. Verse 8, no, verse 9, Salakia. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. Verse 11, and they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door, both small and great, family. So the angel smote the men or caused them to go blind after pulling Lot into the house. It said, even while those men were blind, they wearied themselves or exhausted themselves, not being able to see, old and young, trying to find Lot's door to still go through with the enterprise that they had, to try to lay down with these men. What we looking at, what we extracting from it though, family, you got children out there with that mindset. And the people, the older men that was up there with them, the older ones, they were once young. Old devils were young devils. Old fools were young fools. All right? So we got to train our children up, you know what I mean, in a way where it's pleasing in the sight of the Most High. We don't want to have our children out here operating like that. And through the word, that's what we can do. We can save our children from Satan's trick. All right? Let's see, let me see questions. Judah boy 38. Ain't nothing new under the sun. You right about that, King. Ain't nothing new under the sun. We living in those times again. As a matter of fact, let's go to Revelation 11 and 8 on that case. On that case, ain't nothing new under the sun. All right, even for that spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah, transferring and being was nurtured, harbored, promoted, presented, engaged, even here in this country. Revelation 11. All right, Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our master was crucified. All right, so the place that they talking about said it was spiritually called Sodom. We talking about Babylon. Spiritually Sodom, because even like what we read, and even what the brother just mentioned, here in this country, it's legalized for man and woman. For man and man, man and man to make marriage within a church. Was supposed to be a church, supposed to be the house of the Most High. It's legalized here. And I was telling brothers and sisters, they working on legalizing the pedophilia. Some don't believe it. I expect it to happen. In the case, even what we're talking about with this family, if it's okay, it's no restriction on, from my understanding, it's no restriction on this parent allowing their child to go through a surgery which would take away their reproductive organ. You 12 years old, and there's nothing to prevent that from happening. You know what I mean? That's just a part of the pretext for building up for bigger issues. Now that a child can become a transgender, man, what else? What else is possible? You understand what I'm saying? Let me see. I had something else that I wanted to get. Let's see. Something else I wanted. Oh yeah. So more about showing how the children are altogether immune. You know what I mean? From punishment, man. The Most High punish our children too. That's why we have to do our job. All right, so let's go to 2 Kings chapter 2. Give you this example. 2 Kings chapter 2, dealing with then the works of Elisha. He had a double proportion of the spirit of Elijah. And this shortly after, Elijah had been taken by the Most High, taken up with the chariots. And Elisha had done just a couple works at this point. But 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 23, it says, and he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him and said unto him, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. The children checking, calling the prophet bald head. You know what I mean? And we got children. Sometimes we let our children whatever to adults. You know what I mean? We have to rather, be cognizant to deal with our children accordingly. Like, no, don't do that. We don't know how that person will take it or who that person is, even within this case. So again, they said unto him, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. Verse 24. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Most High. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Samaria. All right, so in the case where we see the prophet turned and cursed the children, the Most High honored that and allowed a she-bear, 2 she-bears, to come out and rip 42 children or maul, eat 42 children. You know what I mean? We don't want that being our children. You know what I mean? But if we don't train them now, if we don't correct them, if we continue to spread the rod, we try to be friends with them. Guess what? We're gonna send our children to the gates anyway. We're gonna send them to destruction. Either way. All right, so let me get that verse. Let me get that verse while we at it. Uh Proverbs 13. Proverbs chapter 13. So again, family, we just point out the fact that the children are not immune. And in the case where, when Satan started trying to work up in them or work through them or try to attach to them, it's our job, to defend them spiritually against that, as well as physically. And I know we're going to a lot of dynamics. You got disturbed children for things that happen within the household. That's a whole nother conversation. But I'm only speaking on this because the importance of it, like I said, is, this is the future. We it's a heavy duty job to be a parent. And a lot of us don't understand what it is to be a parent. I mean, that's why we have, in many cases, where some feel like that they're just a parent. You know what I mean? And you had a household where the man does leave his children, like the curse showed, not understanding, especially the worth of a child. He said to have children, to bear children is a blessing. All right, we understood that in time past, but now we live in a time where you got people rushing to kill their children, paying or agreeing to kill their children for money through abortions. Not understanding the Most High gave you a slice of heaven, man. All right, gave you a ability that some don't even have. All right, but Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. It says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son. Man, I'm gonna read that again. He that spareth his rod hateth his son. So if you trying to friend up and conquer your child, be smooth and cool and friends with your child all the time, don't ever want to punish them, scared to punish them, understand this, you hate your child. You really hate them, because real love is not always nice. Real love don't always feel good. You're gonna hear yes, you're gonna hear no. When you wrong, you wrong, and when you right, you right. That's how real love go. But if all the time you just telling them yes, 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 being a yes man or yes woman to your child, you're gonna corrupt your baby. And the first time that they do hear that no, is gonna drive them wild. All right, Proverbs 13:24 again, it says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. So the ones that love their children, right, it's going to be oftentimes where we're going to correct them. Some don't agree with breaking out the belt. I remember the switches. Shoot, some had to get whooping with extension cords. I didn't see this. I know about it, but I can guarantee you this. Their switch, their belt, their extension cord in most cases, not every case. I mean, because you don't want it to drag over to be abusive. I'm not saying that to abuse your child. I'm not saying to always tell your child no, because that'll corrupt them too. Telling your child no, 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 no for everything. They gonna want a yes, and the person that tell them yes, guess what? They gonna go wild. So it gotta be balanced. Wisdom from the Most High help us with that. All right, but the one that love their child, say their child's gonna be time. Oftentimes, you wrong, you wrong. All right, the first time I talk is gonna be a talk. That'll hurt a child's feelings, especially nowadays. These children nowadays, they not like how we were when we were young. And even me, I mean, at the age that I am, I'm not like my parents. Through the generations, the children have gotten weaker. And they seem a lot more intelligent though. They seem to mature earlier, you know. But for the most part, it's like, they weaker these days. You can talk to them and they get it right. All right, but if they don't get it from the conversation, then hey, it's a different punishment. It don't even have to be the belt. Used to put my son in push-up position, made him cry. All right, if that don't work, then you can get the belt. All right, Con Anthony Rossinelli, indeed, it said, who the Father love, he chastens. Whom the Father love, he chastens. So that's why we have, a lot of us have the issues that we do have. The Most High love us enough to correct us like, son, no, baby girl, that ain't it. That ain't the way to go. All right, let me see, let's get something else though. I want to show y'all this. Let's see, Sirach. Let's see, 36. Bear with me, family, as I find the scriptures. Let's see. It's not what I want. It's late for me too, family. Again, saying I'd have been to the plantation, but I had to get this out of my spirit. I did want to share this indeed. Preferably, it's edification, inspiration and help for somebody whoever may be listening, who will listen. I tell you what, family. Shalakia. Let's go to Sirach. Let me pull it up like this then. Let me pull it up like this off the net. I hate to do that. I really like to just pull it straight up. And meanwhile, let's go to Proverbs 23 though. 23. Hold it. Proverbs 23. Verse 14, what we're going to start with. For 13. Correct that child. All right. Proverbs 23, verse 13 says, withhold not correction from the child. For if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. So you got a lot of parents who say, oh, if I whoop him, if I whoop her, oh, it's just going to break her heart. They're going to hate me. Listen, you're going to make that child hate you anyway if you don't correct them. You know what I mean? It's not our job to be our children's friends. It's our job to guide them, direct them, and lead them to the Most High. Like I said before. All right, so don't withhold that correction. When it's time, when they do right, you reward them. When they do wrong, okay, they have to deal with the consequences of discipline. All right, so in this case, we even mentioning, it's not just Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? It's other people. It's a whole lot more people. It's not just him. But those people who feel like that to withhold the correction, or it's okay to be friends with them, that becomes a part of the evil spilling over in the world some more. All right, so verse 14 says, thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. Understand that, man. That thing go far. When you correct your child, like I said earlier, you know what I mean? You letting your son just pick on whoever until he come across the person who's been training their child. Don't bother nobody. Don't you bother nobody. Don't you disrespect nobody. But you defend yourself. So your son who being a bully running to this child, and it ended up being beyond terrible. Beyond terrible. You know what I mean? To where now you getting that phone call late at night. Your high school, your middle-aged son went to a house party or whatever and ended up losing his life because he's starting stuff in the party. The Most High forbid that. All right. Verse 15, it says, my son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Okay, that's all we wanted. Proverbs 23 and 14. But by doing so, family, we can save our children from here. Now, in this case with Dwayne Wade and his son, Magic Johnson and his son, the way that they going, and just like many other people who look up to them, and that's the major problem with that too, family. You got people who looking at the decision that Dwayne Wade made, and they're gonna say, if he can do it, or if he say that, then it must be cool. I'm gonna agree with it, and I'll do the same thing for mine. So that sin spill over, that wickedness go on to other households who in many cases